Well guys, today we're going to start off this morning by putting our decals on. I've got them laid out here. I've already used a little bit of Spray 9 heavy duty cleaner. Put that aside. And so I've just cleaned up the panels and I think we're ready to go. I got them laid out in a way that I think they're supposed to go. It looks to me, looking at the old pictures, that I stand off about an inch off of the little ridge here in the sheet metal. And so I think that's where I'll start and just put it like that. I do think I'm going to take a piece of blue masking tape. I'm just going to run it the full length here just to kind of help me lay it out and so I don't mess it up too much. So let me grab a little bit of tape. I don't think this is absolutely necessary, but I do think that it might help me. I'm just afraid that if I don't put something down there as a guide, that when I'm done sticking this thing on there, that I'll end up having it kind of cattywampus, and I don't want that. And I don't think I need to make marks on this. I think I can do it by eye well enough. So I just got a long piece, just that way I can pull it tight. And I'd really like my decal to be kind of right at the tip of that thing, I think. So I think we'll just stick that right there. Oh, that wasn't how I wanted that to go. Let's try that again. Yeah. These decals, I believe I got these from Steiner. For this particular style of decal, they're really, really expensive. I think for these decals, I paid about $150. I'm just watching the base of it right now, trying to get the base right on my tape. And then I'll just start at the bottom here and just kind of work my way up, trying to get it, bubbles and stuff out. That's pretty good. I'll come back with a microfiber cloth and I'll kind of rub that in. Microfiber it'll be real slick on this sticker and it'll have less grippiness on it, so it'll help smooth that out a little bit. So next thing to go on here, because this is what establishes our base, and this will probably be the hardest one just because it's so long. I'm just going to peel the whole thing. That's a little bit risque. And then I'll start on this end, try to get my base on there, and then I will continue. And I'm basically gonna kind of push this thing okay, that is certainly good enough for me. I think I might trim that. All right guys, so I'm gonna try to show you here what my issue is. I'm not sure how well you could see it previously. So if I put this Oliver sticker right at the base of this, like that, you can see it's popping up right here, just a little bit high. And so that's kind of an issue. Just it kind of needs to be kind of streamlined in there. I don't want to overlap the chrome part of the sticker here. So I think my best option here is to, if you look right here, you can see I've got a little bit of space here. And I think our best option is to kind of cut that right at the base of those letters That should bring us right down to it. It's going to put the letters right on top of the chrome, but it's better than popping above on this, in my opinion. And I don't want to cut the chrome off, so my cutting from the top isn't really where I want to do. So let's just cut the base of this a little bit, and let's do it that way. Yeah, so I've just got a pair of long scissors here, and I'm going to try my very best to do what I was taught in grade school. I'm going to try to cut very, very accurately. I'm leaving just a hair of that green under the line. And hopefully this will be enough to bridge that gap. It's a pretty cool morning here, and that probably contributes a little bit to my ability to be able to manipulate the sticker here a little bit too. It's probably an advantage that I've got. All right, trying to get that right at the base here. Okay, I hope I've got that right. All right, looks pretty good right here. Okay, well, that's not too bad. 550 goes right at the front here and essentially just ties in right there with that. And I think we will leave the entire thing just like it is. The key is to try to get that base on there. Whew. And then kind of work your way up. That looks nice, right? All right, let's do the other side. I'll put you in time lapse for it. All right, guys, let's get this put on. So I've got, just so you can see, a screw, machine screw, and a rubber washer. That's so that when it goes inside here, it has a little bit of cushion there, and it's not just metal up against the plastic, because it's pretty easy to snap that plastic through. So we'll put these both in like that, and then we'll use a little bit of thread locker. So I'm going to use a Permatex product here. Loctite would be every bit as good. We're just going to put a little bit of thread locker on there. And thread locker or nylon nut is going to be real important here. Because if you don't use something, oh crud, that's going to be tight, very tight. Let me see if I can screw that in. It'll screw in, I think. Yeah, if you don't use some type of a thread locker or a nylon nut on this, then you're going to get yourself in a situation where you'll be out in the field bush hogging or something, and you'll lose your medallion. That's what happened, I think, to a lot of these old medallions. All right, I've got a washer, and then I just got a square nut just because that's what I happen to have. Starting to look good with all its jewelry. Now, on this tractor, just so you know, I think originally, when I got the tractor, it didn't have a front badge or front medallion. But I think originally this probably had black. I wanted a little hot rod red, and so I went with this. I think they switched to this badge mid-63. This is a 1963. So honestly, I was right in that spot where it switched from black to red. And I preferred the red just because I wanted a little hot rod red. And so that's why I chose that. But I think if I was to be period correct, I think I would actually have a black where it's red. It would be black to be period correct. So I'm just a little bit off. I think I missed the red by a few months on mine. All right, guys, let's put the grill on. So something one of the YouTubers, one of the viewers that watches some of these videos had mentioned was that there were spacers in the back behind the grill. Now I didn't know that because when, you know, they weren't there when I pulled this apart. But you know, I went ahead and looked at this parts manual, and indeed there were some little clips. They look like little C-clips essentially. Now I didn't bother making C-clips, but I had some bushings, some spacers, and so these are the ones on the bottom. They're just aluminum, and then on the top I just cut a couple tubes, and they're not exactly the same size. They're just a little bit off. But anyway, these will work just fine. They just provide backing for the grill, so if something were to bump that, it's got some support behind it because there is a decent amount of space there. So we'll start with the bottom ones. I've already dry fit this or practice fit it just so that I would know it would fit before I threw a little bit of paint on. The paint really isn't necessary, particularly on the aluminum. I did it on the steel tube because it can rust, so it'll protect it a little bit. The bottom bolts are just a little bit longer than the top. And these spacers, for me, in my particular case, they were, the spacers were 1 3/8 inch wide or long on the bottom and 7/8 on the top. That was the size of mine. It doesn't mean it'll be the same for you, but it's probably not too far off. Put these bottom ones in first because I don't have as good an access once I push this in as I do on the top. My finger under there to provide a little bit of support for that spacer as I try to locate my hole. All right, I'm in the hole. Let's get this one started as well. It's kind of standard for this tractor. I've been using anti-seize on about everything. All right, so we've got the bottom bolt started. And I might come back and paint these bolt heads. We'll see. Don't know for certain just yet. When I dry fitted this earlier, when I fit the spacers in to see if they were correct, I did have to file a little bit. I just used a rat tail file. I had to file my hole just a little bit, just to get everything to line up with the bolt, to line up with the hole. If you recall, I had to do some repair work on this. So I'll probably put a little bit of fiberglass over the original hole. Those are all started. We should be able to snug her up. Now I'm not going to crank on these. I'm just going to snug them up. Your spacers behind, if they're sized correctly, they should not move around on you. That one there's not tight, so I can move it around. But as I tighten this up, I will be able to. At least I should be able to. Okay. So that's snug. Yes. Let's see if we can get this off. Look at that's definitely the way to go. Might as well put a little grease down in there. There we go. This is just water-based jelly, KY. That'll just kind of help that thing slide along. You'll see when I hit the lube, it'll scoot a lot easier. Maybe. Oh, there it is. Wow, well, that made a big difference. Okay. There we go. That's got a nice little way of kind of snapping on there. Just kind of hooks that little area. Great job. This is a really good reproduction part. It fits really nicely and looks just like the old one in every way. Okay guys, so all I'm doing here is I'm putting the pin in the seat, okay? That's all I'm doing. As far as the seat is concerned, I don't have my rubber torsion spring is just trashed. So it doesn't work at all. I sandblasted it in hopes that I might be able to utilize it or something, but yeah, it doesn't look like it. So right now they're on national back order, and Corvez Oliver has told me today, as a matter of fact, that they're hearing maybe sometime in April they might get some, but they've been back ordered for like, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. So it's been a while. So nobody's holding their breath on that, and neither am I. So I'm going to go ahead and put the seat in without the spring. That roll pin just goes in just like that, and that'll allow me to bolt my seat down. If I recall, that slides under like that. This bolt, we just need to get, just put your hand underneath there. It's square, got a square shoulder on it, so. And that allows some adjustability forwards and back on your seat. Put that Just trying to get an idea of about where I like to sit. It's actually not too bad. It's about right. It doesn't have a lot of give, but it sure is better than sitting on the flat on the steel. So let's look at what we've accomplished today. We got the seat on and a temporary support. We've got a new boot around our gear shifter, keep the elements out. We got our stickers on, our decals. You can see the angle, how the angle is just miscut on those. Not the greatest, but what can I say? There was really only one person that permitted, or that was replicating these decals. We got the grill on. We got the front emblem or badge. And the tractor is looking sweet. Something of note. You see that little pan down there? And that pan is catching oil from the brake shaft seal. There's your brake shaft. And that goes into the tractor housing and comes out the other side. And our brakes and PTO lever and that kind of thing pivot on that. Well, it's about the only seal I didn't replace. I didn't replace that one, and I didn't replace the rear main seal. And the reason for that was because they looked good. I wasn't getting any oil from them, and so, you know, I figured, hey, I'm good to go. Well, I'm still not getting any oil from the rear main seal, praise God, because that's a whole lot more work. But I am getting oil from this brake cross shaft seal, so I called Corvez, Mark Corvez today, and I ordered that brake cross shaft seal, one for each side. And so he'll get that in the mail. I think he probably got it in the mail today. And I'll probably see it tomorrow or the next day. I mean, it's that quick. They're in Illinois, so they're only, 4 or 5 hours from me max. Actually, I don't even think they're that far. I think they're closer to 3 hours. Anyways, I'll have to do a little bit of work and effort to get those brake cross shaft seals replaced. But hey, got to get it done. I don't want this thing leaking all over. I'm not sure where this video is going to fall in the series of videos. You can see we're getting really, really close. I did neglect to mention, and I want to mention this. I did put this drawbar on off camera, and mainly because I was getting giddy and excited about it, and so I put it on. It uses these little pins. You just turn that up and you can pull it out and turn it up, push it in, and then let it fall down. And just a 90-degree angle pin, but the way it's designed on the end, you can only go with the shaft up. And then you turn it down and it locks it in. Pretty neat. But I'm digging that drawbar. Looks great. Maybe if someone could comment on these chains. Obviously the chains prevent the 3-point hitch from going into the tires, and they do a great job of that. But I'm also noticing that when I drop it, I lower it, it comes into contact with the drawbar. And my understanding about these is that you could actually keep the drawbar on in most instances, or at least a lot of instances where you're using a piece of equipment behind, as long as your PTO shaft's not interfering. And of course, we could shove that off to the side and no big deal. Also, I'm not 100% sure if I've put that in correctly. It seems kind of funky to me. And then of course I'd have my top link right up here, which I've got, and I've got it painted and ready to go. I just haven't put it on there because I really don't like the idea of it just sitting there hanging down. So maybe I'll get something to hook onto the seat here and hook on my drawbar. I don't know. We'll figure all that out at a later date. But anyways, she's really, really coming together, guys. It's looking awesome. I know this isn't something that you guys are super excited about, but man, it excites me. There's our new steering wheel. Our gauges looking sweet. Everything works, by the way. So pretty happy about that. I did off camera also swap out these graphite spark plug wires, and I put in solid copper core wire. I prefer the solid. And then I moved my ground clamp. It was here. I need to tighten that up. And I put it just on the inside, right in there. It just bolts. And that allows me to be able to pull this battery or push the battery that direction. You know, obviously this thing slides. And so I can take the battery in that direction without any problems at all. It makes it really, really nice. I do have a shutoff right there, and I will put my pieces in here so that I can hold my battery down and it not move around on me. I also put wing nuts on this right here. Yes, I have a bunch of chips just from pulling that battery in and out when I had the tall one in there. I got a lot shorter one now, and it's perfect fit. So I'll touch up all this. I've got a ton of paint to touch up. I mean, look at this. This is terrible. I got just a ton of that kind of stuff all over this tractor. I got to take care of it. But, you know, the main thing wasn't to make a concourse ready tractor. The main thing was to make a tractor that's, you know, functioning the way it's supposed to mechanically, and a tractor that is protected from the elements. So I think we've got that right now. There are a few things that I'm buttoning up here and there, some of the leaks and what have you. I've done a little bit of tuning, and I'll probably do a little more tuning on that carburetor and the governor. I need to adjust that. So just a few little things, but we're nearing the end of these episodes of Oliver 550 Rebuild. So if you've been watching all these videos, man, I thank you guys. And we're not done yet with this tractor. We've got a handful of other things we got to do still. And then we got to take her for a ride. And we got to take it to the lady that I bought it from.